be live. Hi. The video is live. So now for 3 minutes, we have to keep people entertained.
Well, there was that time that I did that thing with all that stuff. Man.
Sound like you're from Kentucky.
Yeah, I have a bad unconscious mimic issue, so if there is someone from Kentucky that I'm spending time with, I'll start to sound like them.
Well, now, if Lindsay starts talking like she's from Kentucky and you start mimicking her, then I'll start talking like I'm from Southern Illinois, and no one will understand any of
It'll
this.
be chaos. Yep. That'll be a good time.
Because we used to vacation at Lake Barkley.
Where's that?
That's in western Kentucky.
Mm.
Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake, right next to each other.
Yeah, Kentucky Lake. I know that.
Yep. Lake Barkley. We used to go to Kentucky Lake until we found out Lake Barkley was cheaper.
I know that story.
Yeah. That's why everybody's like, I always say Lake Barkley, and people are like, what? And then if people know the region, I say Kentucky Lake, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So many chords happening to me right now. So many chords.
That was the first time I ever swam in something that wasn't a pool, like a natural body of water, was Kentucky Lake.
I'm not a fan of swimming in lakes. I just don't like the fact that you cannot see anything. And there are mutant animals probably in there.
That's what
They're
I
not
was
mutant,
worried.
they're just leeches.
Yeah.
And a Loch Ness Monster kind of thing, you know?
They're perfectly normal leeches. They're supposed to be that size.
Excuse me while I make a last minute adjustment.
Okay. You make your adjustment and then we'll start. Anything else? Am I missing anything else before we get started? Any questions?
I think so.
All right.
That is so much better. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I did media.
Oh,
We're good
media.
there.
Media.
And I'm ready to record, I think. Here we go.
Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. Oh, thanks, me. If you also wish to bring it, go to patreon.com/acedetect. That's patreon.com/ACEDTECT.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, November 5th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Lindsay Gilpin, co-author of Follow the Geeks, technology writer, and been helping us do some writing here on the show. How's it going, Lindsay?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back. You've got the ultimate chapter of Follow the Geeks out this week for people to read, which is very exciting. So you're nearing the end, and you guys will publish next year, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. We're like we're self-publishing it, so we're finalizing all the details of what it's going to look like and doing the audiobook, and it's exciting. I never imagined getting to this point, so it's cool.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Jenny Josephson, our producer and host of Tell It Anyway, is also going to join us for today's topic. How are you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing great. I'm in New York. I'm eating food. I'm seeing people. I'm working on stuff. It's awesome.
You're having a week.
I'm having a week and a half.
Yeah, especially the eating part.
Yeah.
You went to Italy, didn't you?
I did. It was
That's
so great.
All right. We are going to talk about a couple of people who have rebelled against Instagram and social media in general this week. They are young people. I don't know if they're millennials. I'm too old to tell the difference anymore. Are they? Do we have a name for the generation younger than millennials yet?
Isn't it Z?
Is that Z?
Is it? Are they Z?
I think they're Z. Let me check. You guys start the headlines and I'll
All
check.
right. Generation Y, do we need any other names? That's what we'll call it. Let's get a look at the headlines. Facebook announced a feature today for its iOS app called Music Stories. Really, all it means is that you can post a link to a piece of music on Spotify or from Apple Music, and a 30-second preview will be created so that people can listen to that. If people click through, they can get a full track if they subscribe to the service you link to. So Apple Music subscribers get the Apple Music link. Spotify subscribers would get the Spotify link. And if there's an Apple Music link, I guess whether you're a subscriber or not, you can buy the track on iTunes. Support for more music services is supposed to be rolled out as time goes on. But it's funny. It's like it really doesn't do much more, Lindsay, than what you had before, which would have just told you the name of the song. But because it gives you that little play button, suddenly everybody's excited about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get, like, I understand that more people watch videos on Facebook, and I watch more, I think, now that you can click them so easily, but I'm so sick of them telling me how to listen to or watch stories or have stories happen or all this weird stuff they're trying to do with storytelling. And
yeah, and it does smack a little bit of picking winners when you roll it out and it's only for two particular services. If I'm an RDO subscriber and all my friends are giving me Spotify links, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think everyone kind of has their own way of listening to music, so it really, I don't know how much it'll matter.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw, I think it was probably on Yahoo somewhere, but the first time I ever saw something come up with a notification of your friend is listening to this right now, I thought it was really cool at the time, like, oh, that's really interesting, you know, Roger's listening to whatever. But then after a while, the novelty wore off, and I didn't really care what they were listening to right at that point.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The YouTube app for Android now supports virtual reality videos in combination with cardboard VR viewers. It takes 360-degree videos and uses stereopsis and binocular disparity for a more immersive experience. Essentially, that means it breaks it up into two pieces, so it looks like virtual reality when you're looking at it in cardboard. Feature also lets you watch any regular YouTube video in a virtual movie theater experience. That way they can claim they have thousands and millions of videos available through VR. Demo VR videos at launch include a Hunger Games VR experience and a Tom's Shoe ad. So are they monetizing the launch of their VR videos? I don't know. But it's another... It's interesting to me, Lindsay, because it's another step along the road of VR videos becoming a regular thing that everybody can take advantage of. Because I've got a cardboard viewer sitting right over there that I could use if I wanted to. On the other hand, it's still pretty expensive to make these things.
Yeah, exactly. And Erin Carson, who you've had on here before, that I used to work with at Tech Republic, she has the cardboard and has used it a lot lately because more things are popping up, obviously. But it's still kind of weird to figure out how to access it or what you need to do to find what VR that's actually affordable. So I saw today that the New York Times released their first story movie thing on virtual reality too. So it's getting there, but yeah, still hard to access.
The virtual toes are dipping in the virtual water.
Right. Mm-hmm. Think of it as those early days of 1994 when we were saying, "Oh, I hear the New York Times launched a website."
Well, I remembered 1994. I'm not sure how many other people do.
Us young people don't remember it.
If you want to make VR videos and you think the $15,000 GoPro Odyssey you need to make those YouTube VR videos is expensive, try this one. Lytro has announced a new VR camera called the Lytro Emerge. That's IMMERGE, because they can't spell. It uses dense light field array to capture a complete 360-degree image, but because it's Lytro, it also captures the intensity and direction of light rays, which allows the viewer to move around in the video rather than staying stationary in the center. Remember, the Lytro camera could allow you to adjust the focus after you'd taken the picture because it captured all the imagery. This allows you in a moving video to lean in, and everything adapts as if you're really leaning in.
What?
Most 360-degree videos, you have to keep your head stationary. You can look around, but you can't get closer. So they've got some pretty crazy algorithms that allow them to do this. Camera features 5 layers of 360-degree cameras and sensors. Lytro will include a server array and a plug-in for nonlinear editors. When it becomes available in Q1, they don't put an exact price on it, but they say it'll be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, good.
The future is going to be really, really cool, I think. This is the first time in a couple years that I've been like, when the news starts coming about VR and the cameras and everything, I'm like, the future is going to be awesome. So I'm excited, even if I can't afford it.
Really thought you were going to say the future is going to be expensive.
Yes. Well, that's a given.
The price always comes down eventually.
I'll be dead, but it'll come down.
Yeah, this is really cool. Like the Vimeo video is worth watching because they show a guy working on a canoe, I think it is, and he's sanding away, and as the person who's watching leans in, the shadows move. And that's not what was really happening in the video, but they know where the light rays were coming from so that they can change the vectors of things on the fly while you're looking at it. It's pretty impressive. I would like to try it in person to see if it's really that impressive when I use it, but it looks really good. And Lytro is known for being able to deliver on what they say they do. Microsoft announced it has acquired Mobile Data Labs, makers of the MileIQ mileage tracking app. I know there are people in the audience in a car right now tracking their mileage with MileIQ, listening to this show. The app will stay. Don't worry. It's going to stay as it is for right now. The team is going to look at ways to integrate it, though, into Microsoft's Office productivity suite. MileIQ has more than 1 million users. This is one of those stories, if you don't have to track your mileage, you're like, why do I care? But if you used stuff like this is a big deal.
Yeah. When I worked at CBS News and I used to have to report my mileage on my car, it was always such a pain because you never remember to look. So for people to use this sounds great. And I wish them well. I don't track my miles anymore.
Engadget reports a company called Luma has created a router that combines easy security with a kind of a mesh networking for easy coverage extension. They compare it to Sonos. You just plug in a second router in another part of the house and extend your wireless network. They actually call it surround Wi-Fi, which is silly, but I guess it gets the idea across. Wi-Fi always surrounds you. It's light rays. A smartphone app promises enterprise-grade security and parental controls. You can actually you can do all kinds of cool controls, including monitoring the browsing of anyone on the network if you're in charge of it.
Sure.
3 devices cost you $299 for the next 30 days, after which the price will jump up to $499. So if you're interested, you might want to get on it in the next month. Pre-orders are open right now at lumahome.com, and shipping is promised in a vague early 2016 timeframe.
There was one sentence in there that bugged me. Can you guess which one it is?
Yeah, but you're doing the monitoring of your own network that you run. Why is that the one that bothered you?
Let me speak on behalf of my husband, who would say, I don't think he likes that idea.
Well, then he can get his own network. I mean, yeah, it sounds creepy, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? You can do that on your router right now. This just makes it easy. That's all.
I guess if you have kids and wanted to, like TV stations that you can do,
There's actually a lot of really good parental controls on this. Like you can set timers for particular people who access the network, like particularly kids. So like it shuts off at bedtime and they can't sneak back on, stuff like that. Of course, the kids will just figure out how to hack around it.
That probably won't take long.
If you're not familiar with KarmaGo, it's a mobile hotspot service that offers prepaid data at $14 a gigabyte. So it's real simple. You pay for what you use. The kicker is if you share your hotspot connection, you can earn credits in blocks of 100 megabytes. And there's lots of, if you've looked around, there's lots of people talking about using it at airports and racking up huge amounts of credit. Well, today, Karma announced a new plan called Never Stop. For $50 a month, you get unlimited data, and folks who share their connection on that plan get $1 off their bill for each share. KarmaGo device itself sells for $149 and operates on the Sprint network in the United States. But with so many limits on cell phone hotspot use, the idea of being able to either pay ahead of time or get unlimited data when you're traveling could be pretty compelling, especially for those people who need to track their mileage and they're traveling all day.
Yeah.
coolantsv wanted to make sure we noted that the full text of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Deal Wake Up was released today on the New Zealand government's Foreign Affairs and Trade website. The United States also released the text as well. Go the All Blacks. Of concern to tech consumers are restrictions on fair use. The treaty was negotiated privately by 12 governments with input from major trading firms, but not from any NGOs or consumer rights organizations. Most governments will be required to vote yes or no without the ability to amend it. And Big Jim, who does tech and trade, and you'll hear his voice sometimes after the show on the audio podcast, podcast has promised to read it over and let us know what he finds from a consumer perspective. There's a Wired article talking about how some of the language may be good for net neutrality because the signatories have to guarantee access for people. So there may be some good things in there as well. But mostly the concern is that what we have here in the United States with the DMCA and what Australia has in a similar way would be required of all these other governments as well, which have more consumer-friendly copyright laws.
Well, I look forward to my very next Tech and Trade.
Yeah, me too. Tony7511 sent the DSL Reports post that Comcast has begun notifying more markets that it will enforce its 300 gigabyte data cap for home internet users starting December 1st. Overages will be charged at $10 per 50 gigabytes after the first 3 months of overages. So you get 3 months of overages free. Customers can also pay an extra $35 if they want to get unlimited service. New areas are scattered around the U.S., but interestingly, one of them is Chattanooga, Tennessee. You may know that Chattanooga Municipal Fiber offers gigabit internet service for $70 a month and 10 gigabit service for $300 a month without data caps. Comcast in Chattanooga also offers a 2 gigabit service for $300 a month without data caps itself on its fiber service. So this is just a money-making move by Comcast. This is not going to help them with congestion. They may try to imply that, but they have basically said the opposite to Ars Technica in the past. It's a business move.
Can we just point out that Chattanooga gets 10 gigabits for $300, and for $329 I get 100 megabits, and that is competition right there.
I think what Jenny, if you're not catching it, is meaning is she doesn't have a choice. She can pay for that, or she can have no internet at that speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to Ars Technica, a Google engineer named Benson Lung is testing USB Type-C cables and adapters stocked by Amazon to make sure that they're capable of charging his Chromebook Pixel and then posting his findings in the reviews on Amazon. Of the 10 he's reviewed, only 3 so far that he has found are up to spec. They're also the most expensive cables. They're ones from Belkin, iOrange-E, and FryQ. The USB Type-C 1.1 spec is for powering up to 3 amps, but previous specs allowed for only 900 milliamps or 1.5 amps. Lung's research found that several third-party cables do not support the newer power delivery required by Type-C 1.1, so they may work fine on lower-power smartphones with USB Type-C connectors, but they could cause problems if you try to charge a laptop with them. Just one of those interesting cases where the third-party cables, where we usually say, look, they're wires and specs. As long as they meet the spec, there's no difference between them. Don't pay extra. Isn't true because they're not actually meeting the specs, according to this guy.
I always like it when engineers get all worked up about something and post about it. It's my favorite kind of post because, you know, they don't care. They're super mad, and I look forward to that.
Also, reading Amazon reviews is one of the best pastimes ever. So it's it kind of just adds to that whole thing.
Yeah, if you're an electrical engineer, you're gonna have a field day. Some kind of field. There's some kind of field pun in there.
Oh, that was a really good try at a field pun. I really like that.
And Gadget notes, Huawei is Europe's second largest Android brand, and according to Cantor Research, the company's high silicon subsidiary announced the Kirin 950 chipset today, joining Apple's A9 chip as one of the first to use TSMC's 16-nanometer FinFET Plus process. If that sort of thing gets your heart pumping, you can read about it in detail at anandtech.com. They've got a great article about it. But here's a taste. The Kirin 650 promises to maintain 60 frames per second on your phone, and they offer realistic battery life of up to 2 days.
All right.
That battery life, right? I want that.
Sorry, I got to go charge my iPhone. I'll be right back.
Use the right USB cable.
Yeah.
Reuters reports that Apple opened a subsidiary company in Vietnam, as a matter of fact, one of the fastest growing smartphone markets in Asia. Apple established Apple Vietnam Limited Liability on October 28th with capital of 15 billion dong, or about $672,000 if you're looking at it in U.S. currency. Apple sales tripled last year in Vietnam, and mobile phone users in the country grew 26% between 2009 and 2013, reaching 124 million, and a third of the population now has internet access.
Yeah, I just thought that was so interesting because I never even thought about Vietnam and how quickly the internet's growing. It said it was 5 times faster than India Apple's market in there is growing that fast. So it's just cool to see, I had never thought about it.
Yeah, and you could say, well, India is more saturated. They've had, a more mature phone market, and that's true. But, you want to see that. If you're a manufacturer, getting in on a country that is just beginning that hockey stick growth is what you want to do. So smart move by Apple. And that, my friends, is Headlines as partially chosen by you. When we make the final word here, because we're trying to use our experience to say these are the things we think are interesting, but it really helps to know what things you think are interesting. So get to our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Get in there, have some conversations with people about stuff, vote some things up. Even if they don't make the show, you can find some really interesting things. There's a conversation in there right now about how Mozilla is changing how it handles patents it acquires to make them open for people to use. So get over there, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that's a look at the headlines. All right, let's talk about Instagram for a moment here. Australian-born Essen O'Neill deleted many of her Instagram photos last week. She renamed her account Social Media Is Not Real Life. The photos that she did leave up, she changed a lot of the captions to talk about what was really going on in the picture, to try to dispel the illusion that social media gives of these perfect lives. She was accused by a couple of friends of pulling a stunt to get followers, but on Wednesday she deleted her Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook accounts and is focusing on a website called letsbegamechangers.com, which is kind of a blog talking about these sorts of things. Coincidentally, a Instagram account by Socality Barbie, which had mocked the kinds of things that Essen O'Neill had been doing before she changed her approach, ended. Portland's Darby Cisnero ended the account and revealed her identity, saying, "I had never intended on it being a long-term project. I wanted to use it as my own outlet to say things about social media that I always wanted to say. I said all I wanted to say with Socality Barbie," and so she's ended this. Lindsay, this is an interesting coincidence. Is it the beginning of a backlash by millennials?
I found this really interesting because in a couple of articles it said it was just a coincidence, but I followed that Socality Barbie account, and it was made, it's more made to make fun of normal, regular people who, not models, who do that kind of thing. But I really think it's a huge moment for not only for millennials or young people or whatever you want to call them, but also for young women and kind of body image and that thing and that whole conversation that's in feminism, and then also on the other hand just dishonesty on social media and how we all do it, and we need to draw attention to the fact that it's all kind of a ruse and we need to be aware of that. And I think them both showing how self-aware they were about this and kind of coming to terms with the fact that it is hurting a lot of young women and young men, that I think that's a kind of a huge moment, and that's why Socality Barbie quit. Like, the point was proven, or at least the conversation was started.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like that pull of social media and what's going on now between, like Lena Dunham just launched something called Lenny Letter, which its whole purpose is to try to strip some of that away, that artifice away from social media. It's sort of replacing it with a whole other kind of artifice, but I won't get cynical like an old person. But yeah, I think it's a really promising development, and that there are just as many Instagram accounts that are dedicated to showing the reality of people's lives, like not just women, but men also, as many as there are of trying to sort of create an artificial wall around it.
Yeah, a less dramatic change is Estee Lalonde. The Next Web has a profile up on her. She's a YouTube star who used to do pretty much fashion, makeup, beauty hall type stuff under the name Essie Button, and she's growing up. She's going by her real name now. She's doing more lifestyle things, more reality things, and in a less dramatic way, saying a lot of the same things that you're hearing us talk about with the other folks. And in particular, in responding to Essen O'Neill and her change on Instagram, said, "I think social media is what you make of it. If you start out not being yourself on the internet, things can go that way. But for me, it's always been me being myself online." I can see where she is coming from, referring to Essen, though, because the pressure is intense. And that's a pressure we get commercially, right? So someone like Essen O'Neill was being told how to stand, how to make the photo for best effect to increase followers, was driven by herself, by the reward of seeing how many likes she was getting and comparing them to other people, but also under pressure from the folks who follow you, right? You want the reward not just of the likes, but of the positive comments, and avoiding those negative comments and trollish things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that, no matter how many of us want to say we don't care about how many likes we get on Instagram, everyone does, and everyone wants to check, 10 minutes later and see 30 likes on their photo. And oftentimes, you're going, like we were talking about earlier, you're going on a hike and it's not as perfect as you took a picture of. You're not sweating on the top of a mountain, but you want to present that and say, oh, it was really easy, I did it, it was great.
And I drove right up there and got on, took this Instagram photo.
Yeah. I mean, we've all done it, and I think that's important to start this conversation of this is not real. We all do it. It's a normal human thing to want people to think that your life is perfect. But and I think that pressure and seeing young people realize that sooner, I think that's a really important step in all of this.
Yeah.
Jenny, is this just the learning process? Is this because it's easy to look at this and say, see, I told you social media is bad. But I don't think that's necessarily personally what I think the lesson is. I think it's more about we're watching humanity figure out how to use these tools.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, we started out, like, Tom, you were always sort of like an explorer of the web, starting out and always just trying to see what you could do with it and whatever. But I started out from the exact opposite spectrum of the internet was dangerous and I wanted to have nothing to do with it because it could get me in trouble at my jobs, right? And then you've got a whole generation of people that grew up, including perhaps Lindsay, never not having the internet. And so it just seemed like a natural thing to do, to share everything you were doing. I mean, YouTube's vlogging is entirely in that core philosophy. And only now are we all kind of coming to the same place and saying, either we need to be like a little more honest and a little more true to ourselves and not trying to create some sort of artifice, or we need to create that old-fashioned privacy thing and not be constantly posting and not be constantly driven. Like I was hanging out with Molly Wood yesterday in a cab, and we had not seen each other for a long time, and yet we were like, okay, social media break, and like not talking in the cab, and it was weird. It was like we were both doing it. We both knew we were doing it. Then we both looked up and we were like, wow, that's stupid. Like, it's a strange phenomena.
Yeah, and I think giving that generation a break, like, I didn't have, you're watching them grow up and like there's photos to show that they're a different person or they're changing, and like these young women are getting backlash about changing their persona online, and I mean they're just growing up like normal teenagers. They just are realizing things that we all realized when we were 16, 17, and I think that it's unfair to say that they don't have the right to do that just because, I can't imagine going through high school I didn't have Instagram in high school, so I can't imagine doing that, all the social pressures anyway. And then on top of that, you have photos online. Like, it's got to be a lot.
It's a lot to manage.
And we do it to ourselves. It's easy to say social media is the problem, or advertisers putting pressure on people to look a certain way so that they make money off their accounts is the problem. But you are also the problem if you are the kind of person who sits there and goes, well, you don't look that good in this photo, or wow, got some gray in your beard, Merritt, why don't you dye that? Which I have received. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's an example of, I look at comments like that and I'm like, how are you helping? How does that make anything better? And again, I think what we're seeing play out is people realizing that and saying, hey, let's figure out a better way to exist under these new conditions. Now, you can do like Jenny said and build up privacy walls, and it's perfectly legitimate and a reasonable way of reacting. But some people are going to say, no, I don't want to have to give up this thing I enjoy doing. I want to change it so that it's better.
I think that what we're going to see more and more as you get the next generation, which, by the way, I looked it up, and it's either the generation after the millennials is post millennials or iGen with a lower I and a capital G. And
are you kidding?
They're also known as Generation Z. So that I looked it up. Those are the three options for the people that post date the millennials, and people will argue with you about when that starts. So that's for what it's worth. But I think that you're going to see a larger trend, and it's already starting, towards making sure that the concept of empathy is taught from a very early age. And I hate saying that empathy has now become a buzzword, but it's sort of on the verge of becoming one, because people are really starting to notice that that's the missing link. And I don't know whether it's the distance between you and the thing you're looking at on the screen, whatever screen that is, or just the fact that that anonymity grants you that freedom. But I think teachers are really starting to focus on reminding everybody that, on the other side of that picture is a human and they feel things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's really important.
Were y'all taught manners at any point?
No.
And I don't mean that as an accusation. I realize that it kind of sounded, don't you have any manners? But I was taught manners in elementary school, I think in catechism, definitely by my parents. And that's what we're talking about. It's a new way of teaching manners, right? Instead of the knife goes on the right and you always say, excuse me before you leave the table. We're saying it's not okay to say these kinds of things to people on social media. These are things that are okay to post. These are things you shouldn't post because you can expect to get this kind of reaction. It's a new world to live in, and it requires new rules to live in it by.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of frustrating having older generations dismiss millennials and young people and iGen because it's not really fair. We just do things differently because we are presented with different technology and different ways to handle things. So I think it's kind of on both sides. We all need to adapt to the norm now, which is Instagram and Facebook at all hours of the day. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anytime you're finding yourself starting a sentence, kids these days, check yourself, because it was said about you when you were young as well. And believe me, I hear people who are in their 20s saying kids these days sometimes.
Yeah.
So it goes all the way back. If you had to pick, I'm Generation X, what generation do you guys identify with?
I'm a millennial, although I just hate the connotation that has now, but I identify with that.
I used to hate the Generation X label back when it was bandied around the same way people bandy around millennial, which is the millennials do all these things wrong. And Generation X is slackers, they're lazy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm Generation Upper West Side.
Generation UWS.
Yeah, UWS.
All right. Well, folks, if you have some thoughts on this, by all means, send us an email, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Our pick of the day comes from Unstoppable in the chat room, who wanted to share a new productivity app for managing people who are completing tasks while you're not present. It's called Task Assure. So it could be used for your children. It could be used for someone you hired to do house cleaning or move stuff. He says it sends text messages to note time, start time, and end time, and uses GPS location tracking to produce a map of the individual's location while requiring photos to be uploaded to ensure the task has been completed to your standards. What you don't see is all the verification steps that go on the back end, checking every 5 minutes to make sure your task is underway. Software can be used for anything you want, and you can find it by doing a search for Task Assure. Thank you, Unstoppable, for sending that along.
Cool.
I'll be using it for myself when I go to the grocery store.
I was like, the death of what privacy now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, there are certain things where it's like, listen, I hired you to do this, and I can't stand here and supervise, so I want to make sure you're doing it the right way. Yes, it's making sure you're not getting ripped off. It can also be making sure, if there's questions, it could be used for hey, there's 2 doors here. Which one am I supposed to paint again? So it's a good way to just stay in touch, maybe. Send your picks to us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Rich from lovely Cleveland wrote in regarding Inbox now supporting smart suggested replies. He says, I can't wait until AI gets to the point where I can run my email like the Mass Effect dialogue wheel, where the app will read the email, give me some short generic reply options, and then write a more fleshed out email based on my preferences. There are already services like Crystal, which parse your emails and let you know how best to tailor messages to meet individual style, and I don't think it's too far off.
Cool.
So, yeah, you can pick mad, terse, and then just have it compose it for you.
Deeply apologetic.
Yeah, deeply apologetic, remorseful.
Embarrassed.
David writes, I thought I should correct an assumption you made. Amazon still does present different prices to different customers. At least David says he's seen it. He runs a site that lets book lovers know which books are currently discounted. It's called readfree.ly. It looks really interesting, actually. I checked it out. He says, so I'm in and out of Amazon a lot. I find that the price I'm shown when I'm logged in is always higher than the price I'm presented with if I use my browser in incognito mode. So I expect a lot of people going into that Seattle bookshop not logged in, or logged in, I guess, because they want the cheaper price. Chris in Memphis, Tennessee says, it seems to me Amazon could fill a gap in the market if they could offer a brick and mortar store that was closely tied to the online store, like if you offered free 2-day shipping for items to be delivered to the store. I would be surprised if they don't do that, Chris, because they already do the lockers, and I'm assuming that the Amazon store would be tied into the locker system somehow, but it's a good question. And then Patrick Beja wrote in and said, I'd like to exercise my right of reply to Marlon from Trinidad, who implied my definition of core and casual gamers was basically defining core gamers as PC or console gamers. I thought Patrick had a legitimate reason for doing that. Here's what Patrick says. I want to point out that this definition was designed specifically to avoid the kind of bias he's talking about. This is why I stepped away from the more common definition of core or casual games and chose to define the gamers instead. That being said, I'll agree the context of our discussion was a Western point of view, but I'd also point out that some games are more likely to be played in a casual way than in a core way, and that is a trend we find in mobile games because the form factor is perfect for casual uses like commuting. However, even those games usually make most of their money on core players, the few that pay for an otherwise free-to-play title, and I'm certain King is no different. So Patrick finishes, basically, we're all correct.
I was born ready.
Hugs to all, Patrick Beja.
I like to think when Patrick is thinking these lovely, deep, well-thought-out thoughts, he's somewhere on a boulevard with his scarf blowing in the wind and just walking and thoughtfully thinking, I would like
a
to
baguette, a bottle of wine, and a slice of brie in a bag.
Yep. Absolutely. Bring it on, France. That was a really good answer.
Yes, thank you for writing that, Patrick. That was great. And, of course, Patrick will be back on the show next Tuesday. And that is it for this show. Thank you, Lindsay Gilpin, for joining us. That was great.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, follow the geeks at followthegeeksbook.com is where you can go to read the ultimate chapter, the last chapter, and then the book is complete. And it's a really interesting subject this time.
Yeah. Speaking with the theme today, it's about 15-year-old Maya Penn, who is, I wrote a story about her in Tech Republic like almost 2 years ago, and then we had the idea to put her as the last chapter of the book because it is about the future of work, and she epitomizes the future of work. She's a CEO of a nonprofit and a for-profit, and she designs clothing and apparel. She is an animator and has a show coming out, on a web show coming out soon. She's done all kind of volunteer work, and she just makes all of us look really lazy, basically.
I was like, she's the reason people get grumpy about young people because they're jealous.
Yeah.
That girl's talented.
Yeah. She is incredible, and she lives in Atlanta, and it's a really awesome story just about kind of how you hustle and how she's also a TED speaker. One of her videos went viral, and she's just well beyond her years. So read it because it's a really inspiring story. It'll make you go work right now.
Yeah, really. And now what are the comments? What's going on with you want comments still? Are you looking for that?
Yeah. So we have, there's instructions on followthegeeksbook.com, but we still are looking for feedback from readers on any of the chapters, and if you pre-order the book, you can get access to all of them before it's published officially. But yeah, we're just looking at kind of how people's experiences parallel, say, Tom's or Maya or, anything like that, what you related to, what you learned from it, what you think about the future of work. And we're going to take kind of the best comments and put them at the end of each chapter. So if you all have if anyone has some insights they'd like to send, you can be in our book.
Or you want to be in a book. That's a really easy way to get in a book. So you guys should go check out Follow the Geek.
Yeah. You are published along with us. Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you pre-order the book and then make a comment on the book you pre-ordered will get better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll have a better book because you did it.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that model.
How many books can say that about?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We've gotten some awesome comments, but since it's kind of gone so fast and all the chapters disappear after a while, we've lost a little momentum on that front. So we're always looking for more to come in. So yeah.
Check it out. followthegeeksbook.com. Jenny Josephson, tellitanyway.com, with a marvelous episode being edited as we speak. Almost
I took
literally.
a break. Yeah, I took a break from editing to come on the show. We're going to have an episode coming up called Bad Dates, featuring stories from Matthew C. Flanagan, who
Your husband is on the episode called Bad Dates.
Yeah.
This is going to be good.
It will come with a content warning, ladies and gentlemen. So check it out pretty soon. I think I'm going to get it all done tonight, and it'll be at tellitanyway.com. And I thank you all, my loyal patrons, for your supreme patience.
Yes, patrons are the best. They were what power this show as well. dailytechnewsshow.com/support. If you're willing to help the show with as little as 5 cents a show, $1 a month, get in there and help us out. dailytechnewsshow.com/support on Patreon or on PayPal, or even just pre-ordering one of the brand new mugs in the store. Any of those things work. Also, Len Peralta has 5 more slots. It was 6 moments ago.
Wow.
Until I think it was Gadget Chaser jumped on one. So he's got 5 more slots left if you want to get your name on the DTNS Force Awakens-like poster. I don't think we can actually call it a Force Awakens poster because that would be a license. But it's similar. It's in the style of. It's reminiscent. It's a tribute. It's an homage. It's fair use.
Parody.
I don't know. It's one of those things. So go check that out at lenperaltastore.com. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on alphageekradio.com, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. 2 shows tomorrow, headlines in the morning and live from BlizzCon in the afternoon with Brian Ibbett and Todd Whitehead. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
And then I missed that Steve had bought one, so there's only 4 left.
There's only 4 left, and then there were 4. Great job, Lindsay Gilpin. Great show.
Yeah, well done. That was fun.
Thanks. That was great. I love talking about that stuff. Yeah.
Good.
It's awesome.
Would you like to look at some titles at showbot.tv?
Yeah.
Would we?
I know. Some of them are dark. Guys, it's Thursday. Don't be so dark.
That's cold.
Yeah. I like Social Not Work.
That's good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Luddite. Millennial Miss Manners. Talking about iGeneration. It's funny because these are all about the millennials and the iGen, and yet it's using all boomer songs as as title suggestions.
It reflects the age of the people who.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right.
iGeneration? Seriously?
That's the worst.
Yeah,
That's
iGen.
horrible.
I think all generations can agree. That's a horrible name.
But post-millennial is kind of weird, too.
Yeah.
It's not the best. I agree.
So I want to say one thing, which was that I was griping about my slow internet, but I actually have to say that there were some people at the internet company that provided it to me that actually worked with me really hard to get me something within their specs that was a little better than what I had before. So I felt a little guilty about that because it was one of our listeners, and he's been working really hard to help me. But
now you credit him.
I know. Well, no, but I think that the point, though, the overall point of there is no other option, and therefore, like, It's really nice to get help, and I really appreciate it, but I sure would like a gigabit. Not even 10. How about just 1?
Or just 3 companies to choose from that were
3 companies to choose from,
all giving you different options.
Yeah, so I think my sadness is really about the state of competition in the particular area that I'm in, rather than the nice people that were helping me all last week to make it a little better. So anyway, I felt guilt. I felt guilt.
Are you so fidgety?
Hi, Ellie.
Say hi.
How you doing, cheeks?
I think I'm going to go with social not work.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, it's so warm right now because I'm in a studio with a closed door. Hold on.
I'm actually not that cold.
I am.
I was this morning, though. Ooh.
I'm missing the cold. I can't believe it. I'm so bummed. I can't decide if I'm more bummed to be missing the cold
It was
or the
66 this morning when
or
I
the
got
blizzard.
in the house. Whoa. I laugh
Ellie,
at
Ellie,
myself.
Ellie.
I wonder what her generation will be.
That's what I was wondering during the
I know.
show.
Generation Ellie will be named after her.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'd be a Greek letter, like a sorority or fraternity.
What if
Generation Delta.
what if
Hi.
Ellie's actually like the kid in Battlestar Galactica who was like that from which all other generations descend? I love that idea.
Wait,
Generation
Boxy?
Ellie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Boxy? I thought you
No, you guys are too Generation X. No, well, never mind. I don't want to.
Yeah,
There is an important child in that
Right,
show.
right.
that whole show had important people that somehow became less important as time went on.
Right. Oh, look at her! Look at her wobble around.
So cute.
Ellie's the future. That's the title. Ellie is the future.
Future taxpayer of America. Unless you move to a different country.
Would you allow that?
It depends on how old she is.
I mean, obviously, at a certain point, it doesn't matter what you think, but
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. They implement some sort of the future trade agreements also offer free transit, or not free transit, but visa-free living and working in other countries, reciprocal.
freedom of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always. I want to say this carefully because I don't mean more by it than some people might think I mean. But I always find it interesting to compare people's attitudes about freedom of movement and immigration and all of that stuff with the benefits they receive for it within whatever country they live in. And most particularly, I'm thinking about the United States, where I can move from Illinois to Virginia, to Texas, to California throughout my life whenever I want. I didn't have to get anybody's approval. The worst thing I had to do was change my driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
And if all these states were actually not united, it would have been more difficult.
It would have been more difficult, yeah. I don't know. I feel like any answer that I give is going to be long, complicated, and offend 50% of all people. So I'm just not
I know,
gonna
that's
do
why I was hesitant to get too far into it.
Was
See
not
East
so
Meets
much
West
I have
for more.
I have nothing to say. Rather, I have so very much to say, and I'm choosing not to say it.
You should be on the show, Jenny.
Oh, God. East meets West meets...
East meets West Side.
No, I had a different
East
answer.
meets Upper West Side.
I had a different answer. I think Lindsay knows it. I will save that one for later. Anyway, whoa, it's hot in here. Woo! So let's see, what else? What else is going on?
Oh, tomorrow you guys are at Blizz.
Yeah, tomorrow we both have the day off. Unless, Tom, you really need me, in which case you
No.
could. Okay.
I plan to bang out the headlines in the morning. So you folks listening, you should get headlines early. And then I will rely on Todd Whitehead's good graces for everything else. So it should be fine.
You're in good hands.
Yep.
With
Is
Todd
there a-
State.
Is there a Dairy Queen near the event center or whatever that's being held? Oh, because
don't
you get like
know.
Blizzard. It's not those Blizzard ice cream things. Though,
What about Dairy Queen?
Doesn't Dairy Queen do those Blizzard shake beverages?
Yeah, the Blizzard. Wrong Blizzard, but I get feel you.
No, what I'm saying
No, that he's making a joke, Jenny.
I know. I'm making
That
another
while
joke.
I'm at the Blizzard
Oh,
conference,
his joke.
I could buy a Blizzard.
I'm moving right past his joke into my own joke. And onward into jokefinity.
You worked hard for that one, Roger. I feel bad.
I know.
But it's a perfect product tie-in.
Dad jokes forever.
No, they have soft serve ice cream with flavor bursts inside the hall.
Oh yeah, I remember the food there was. The food there is a challenge. You're right next to Disneyland with all this amazing food, and you're eating sort of taco. Sort of.
Well, actually, last year they had food trucks, which changed the game.
Did they?
Yeah. All of a sudden, you had really interesting options.
Vegan tacos.
Yeah, they had a Peruvian truck and a barbecue truck.
I feel like that must have not been on the day that I was there, or somewhere else.
Let go.
Yeah, no, you're talking about inside the hotel and convention center, and you're totally right about that.
A little grim there, yeah.
It's the only one to let you go.
Sort of taco.
Yeah.
Perfect description of what she's talking
So
about.
you have your choice between sort of taco, kind of burger, and I don't even know what the other ones were.
Snack?
No, and Chinese-ish.
Chinese.
Chinese. That was those were your three options at the convention center. It's fine.
Yeah, I've actually never eaten inside the convention center.
Yeah, that was just at the hotel, right?
Yeah, and I've been there for VidCon and WonderCon,
BlunderCon,
BlunderCon,
ThunderCon,
I really want that show where people just go to different conferences.
Yeah.
That's the show I was pitching.
I know.
It was called Con Man. And then
Alan Tudyk stole your name.
Appropriated for his own BS. Along with, who's that guy from Castle? Nathan.
That guy from Castle?
Hello. Mal Reynolds. Gee.
I aim to misbehave.
Yep.
About that comment.
I ran into him at a Comic-Con, physically. I was walking in the Gaslight District, and I was trying to find where this Tron...
You fell down, didn't you?
No, I physically ran into the front of him. I think he's a tall dude, he's big.
I was going to say, that's what I mean. He's a big guy.
It looks can he give me a weird stare? It's oops, sorry.
He was wondering if you did it on purpose.
I saw Captain Mel Reynolds from a distance once. I was in a park with my husband and my dog, and they were filming at Castle, and I thought, I wish Castle would get canceled so you could do other interesting things.
You make so much money off it.
I know. He's very wise. And yet still.
Same reason why, wait, who's the guy from Nash Bridges? Not Cheech.
Don Johnson?
Don Johnson. That's why he did that show, because it was one of the few things that would bring him in.
Man, Nash Bridges was still on the air when I moved to San Francisco.
I remember them setting up the shots, or some of the location shots, because they would have two of his car on a car carrier. And it was parked right outside that Costco on the top of the market.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about our conversation on the show today, and I was like, millennials ain't got nothing on Pomeranians, because I was just looking at Jif Pom, and he has 22,000 likes for a post, and I was just like, that's a dog with 22,000 likes. Ridiculous.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this story, and I was looking at Instagram, and I saw that Veronica had posted a picture of Bodega doing something cute, and I was like, that's the smart way to go. Just go the dog route. The dogs on Instagram, Dogs of Instagram itself, that account is huge.
Yeah.
Or the Doggist. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen the Doggist.
Yeah, he was on Sunday Morning recently, which just dated me. But yeah, your dog is... I know. I saw something about the Instagram on CBS Sunday Morning, which I watch at 6 in the morning with my coffee and my New York Times.
The only time I hear CBS on Sunday morning is when my neighbor, who's 86, has it on really
That's
loud.
me. I'm an 86-year-old lady.
That's actually Jenny. Yeah.
That's me. I'm actually 86 years old. Would you like a cookie?
Let me get you some tea.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If you want anonymity, give your dog a fake name and put it on Instagram, which is what I did. Isn't he cute?
So cute.
So cute.
I almost posted another picture of him yesterday.
Yeah, you can. Send him to me. I miss him. Matt won't send me pictures of the dog because he's mad that I'm not there. I really want pictures of the dog. I miss the dog. I miss the husband
seriously?
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd be weird if I kept sending you pictures of
No,
him.
it's like therapy. I need that dog in my life. So please do feel free to send me pictures.
I've been Snapchatting him to everybody.
That's so great. I'm gonna follow you on Snapchat just to see pictures of my dog.
Yeah. I use Snapchat to take pictures of puppies and make fun of everything.
Oh, that's such a great combination of things.
I know.
So, all right, Lindsay, if you do not wish to be referred to as a millennial because it does have kind of a stank on it, and as someone who has already published a book at your age, I feel like it doesn't really apply to you. What was your preferred title?
I don't know. I don't know that I really think about that all that much.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a really good question.
Like, what would be an
Do you
acceptable?
think about the title very much?
Not often.
Or did you?
You mean title of the generation, or
Yeah, title of the generation.
To me, it's like it doesn't really matter if you change it, because then whatever you change it to either doesn't get picked up or does get picked up and picks up all of the same associations that the other title had.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what you said earlier, Tom, about how no matter what it's called or how old you are, it's always going to be the next generation that gets like, oh, you're a slacker. You don't work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You could be.
You have it easy.
Yeah, you could be a responsillennial. Like you're a responsibillennial. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It only matters in like Pew Research studies. So.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good CBS Sunday morning segment.
What? Sunday morning is on. Come sit down by the TV. They're going to have 2 minutes of nature.
We should call them responsillennials.
Oh, my God. Charlie Osgood is going to play on the piano and sing something. Mort, get over here.
Okay. By the way, that just reminded me of my verbal gaffe on Cord Killers when I meant to say Jim Rose Circus, and I said Charlie Rose Circus.
Nice. I would love to see a Charlie Rose
And
circus.
now I cannot stop wanting to see the Charlie Rose Circus.
By the way, that joke is credited to one BioCow in the chat room. I always credit my jokes.
Oh, very good. All right. Well, we are published, so I'm going to stop our broadcast. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening.
Goodbye, listeners.